happens to your inspiration level when you realize the sun's not setting, the sun is rising, and we haven't even got started yet? Then you end up with inspiration for your home, for your kids, for your family, and for your future.
Jump into compassion, jump into truth, jump into love, jump into reconciliation, jump into justice, and let no wall keep you from being changed by God. Preach.
You hold the weight of a world that is shaking. You heal the heart of a nation that's aching. My trust in you remains. Come on. You stay the same through the changing of seasons, and you are the hope when I can't find a reason. My trust in you remains, and my trust in you remains. I still believe you are greater. I still believe you're in control, and I still believe you're my healer, Jesus, you're faithful, always. I still believe, yeah.
You are the light that will break every darkness. I stand amazed, overwhelmed by your greatness.
My hope in you remains. Yes, it does. My hope in you remains. I still believe you are greater. I still believe you're in control. And I still believe you're my healer, Jesus, you're faithful, always. Yeah, I still believe. Yes, we do, Lord. We still believe
We still believe.
you are faithful. We put our trust in you, Jesus.
Put our trust
We
in
know
you.
you hold the victory. Yes, you do. Come on, we declare every victory you have won. In your name I overcome. I still believe. Yes, I still believe. You're not finished with me yet. Greater days are still ahead. I still believe. Jesus, every victory you have won. In your name I overcome.
the sea so I could drown in open water and never turn your back on me. You didn't give me sight so I could never see the promise. You're always working in the wings. This is not the end of the story. This is only just the beginning.
Greater things are coming, greater things are coming. Even while I'm waiting, I believe. From the moment that you speak till the promise is complete. Even while I'm waiting, I believe for greater things. You didn't take the cross so I'd forget that you are faithful. So let it never come to be. You didn't leave the grave to leave me at the sinner's table. You have greater plans for me.
This is not the end of the story. This is only just the beginning. Greater things are coming. Greater things are coming. Even while I'm waiting, I believe. From the moment that we speak till your promise is complete. Even while I'm waiting, I believe for greater things. Oh, greater things.
Yes, Jesus.
Yeah.
We believe in greater things.
We believe in you.
Your word is true. Your word is true. You finish what you start, Jesus.
What you
You
started,
finish what you start.
finish what you started, God.
As we declare what you started in me. You said you would complete. And if you're not done yet, then I'm not done yet. All the things that you've done tell the story of love. And you're not done yet, so I'm not done yet. What you started in me, come on, you declare.
You said you
He's
would
gonna complete it. said it, you would do it, Lord.
If you said it, you would do it.
'Cause if you said it, you would do it.
If you said it, you would do it.
If you said it, you would do it, Lord. So bring revival.
Bring revival.
Won't you bring revival? Come and bring revival. Won't you bring revival?
Bring revival. I can see it coming.
If you said it, you would do it.
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 If you said it, you would do it, Lord.
Said it, you would do it, Lord. Revival.
'Cause greater things are coming. Greater things are coming. Even while I'm waiting, I believe. From the moment that you speak till the promise is complete. Even while I'm waiting, I believe for great things.
Hello, my friend. In just a minute, we're going to have an incredible and practical message on James chapter 3. But before that, I wanted to tell you a quick story about a villain that goes to Bayside. That's right, we have villains here at Bayside. You see, we love kids. Kids matter to Jesus, and they matter a lot to those that really want to follow Jesus. So we do a thing called Breakaway. And in Breakaway, we have this fun play that we do. It's called The Rally, where we explain the love of God. And in the play, there's always a villain, and the kids love the villain. They love to boo the villain. I mean, it's incredible. A few years ago, I was hanging around at our Breakaway, and there's thousands of kids, and they're booing the villain. And after the play got over, one little special needs kid, I saw him. He rolled right up to the villain. The villain was being played by a guy named David. His character's name was Minor Mayhem, and as he came off the stage, he thought this kid was gonna boo him, but the kid said to him, "Minor Mayhem, I want you to know, even though you're a villain, Jesus loves you, and you can give your life to God." Man, that's what Breakaway's all about. Teaching all of us to love all of us. Around here at Bayside, we often say you don't give to us, you give through us. What does that mean? When you give, it means that we take that money and invest it in kids. I believe that every kid ought to go to camp. You know what? You're going to hear a lot more about this in Ray's message, but I want to encourage you. Now is the time to live a generous life. Now is the time to make sure that everyone gets the message of the love of God, especially kids, because kids really need a break. If you want to join us in that effort, it's real easy. You got to just text the word GIVE to 56316. Text GIVE to 56316, and together, let's make a real difference in the lives, especially of children. Hey, right now we're going to go back into a worship song, and then text someone or call someone or get someone to sit down next to you, because this message is really going to help.
We sing a song to bring you glory. We lift your holy name on high. The Lord our God is strong and mighty. We praise the name of Jesus Christ. breaks in glorious light. And with him we will reign forever. Oh, praise the name of Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah. We will await the King's returning when heaven breaks in glorious light. And with him we will reign forever. Oh, praise the name of Jesus Christ. Oh, yes, sing hallelujah. Open up the ancient doors. Oh, hallelujah. Come and bow before the Lord. Bow before the Lord. Oh, hallelujah. Can you hear the heavens roar? His nations rise to glorify. Prepare the way and praise the name of Jesus
Hey friends, it's Pastor Ray. I am thrilled you have joined us. And there are so many of you that are new to Bayside, and you're going to, who are you guys and how did this start? Our church was started because of 2 copycat suicides of kids in our community, and a group of 4 people began to pray that God would raise up a church that would attract kids and teenagers, and Bayside was born in prayer and in the heart of God. Well, translate that to what's happened now is this. We do one of the largest kids thing on the planet, okay, in terms of a thing called Breakaway. And it now these boxes are going all over the country because they can't come on site. We decided to take it to them. So we have made a ton of Bayside boxes so that we could deliver these to kids, which means for the first time ever, any kid from anywhere, including kids that could never afford it, can actually get in on this, okay? If you're going, what's Breakaway? Just while you're getting ready for our study on James 3, check this out.
Why do we even have to move so far away from my friends? This is seriously going to ruin my life.
Sophie, I'm not trying to ruin your life. We just need a fresh start, a new place.
Mom, please stop.
I can't. The brakes aren't working. Hang on, kids.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Let's go.
Well, now that the brakes are fixed, it's time for some auto body repair.
Sam, don't move a muscle.
Stargazing! You look at the night sky, you see all the falling stars. It's amazing.
Hey, kids, look, a shooting star.
Oh, that's so awesome.
What was that?
I told you not to worry. You see, God can use all of your troubles and turn it to good.
Come to think of it, the thought of leaving this place actually makes me really sad.
We're gonna see firsthand how God can take something bad and turn it to something good. All right, we have a lot of work to do, okay?
This will ruin everything.
On your mark. Get set.
Go! Somebody help!
Come on, Sam, just a little further.
God can turn your anger into forgiveness.
This has been the best few weeks of our life here at Breakaway Falls.
As I dive into this message, I'm going to pause right here and give you and I a chance to make a difference into some kids' lives. And you can give to get these boxes into kids. For example, a few weeks ago, we raised $250,000 in like 10 minutes from you amazing people, and we got 300 kids living in disadvantaged areas back into school. That actually happened. Those Chromebooks got delivered this week. Check this out, okay? I mean, pretty cool. We got pictures of these kids getting their Chromebooks. What they don't have is an invitation to Breakaway. So we've introduced all these kids back to education. We want to introduce these kids to Jesus. We want to raise enough money to buy Breakaway boxes boxes for every one of these kids and kids like them and give that to them for free so they have a chance to develop a personal relationship with God. You can do that by giving. The instructions are right there on the screen. While you're doing that, though, I have to tell you something that made my day. It was Father's Day morning a week ago. And I got up, and to be honest with you, it's kind of a depressing Father's Day. I mean, kids are awesome and all that stuff, but church is not the same right now. It's coming back, but it's, and so I'm driving, and it has been a hard week, okay? And matter of fact, if you're a pastor in America, it's been a really rough week, to be really honest with you. Every pastor I know has got angry people shooting at them from both sides of everything, including me, including Bayside pastors, but it's true nationwide. And so I just go, I'm going to drive down and get my kids some donuts for Father's Day, bring them home. We're all going to gather and watch the service, do church together. And while I'm driving, I turn left, Bayside Straight. I turn left to go down to where this place is, and a truck pulls up next to me. And it's just big old truck, dad in there, mom's in there, 2 young kids in the back seat. And I'm turning left and Bayside Straight. And the guy goes, "Hey, Pastor Ray, where are you going?" He goes, "Church is that way." And I laughed and I said, "Hey, I'm running to pick up something for my kids." And he goes, "But man, I'm glad you're going there. Have a great time. You're going to love it." He goes, "Let me tell you why we're going." He said, "We're all going down there to buy 100 breakaway boxes." And he said, "We're going to give them out to 100 kids that can't afford it." And his whole family is doing this together. And I said, I could almost not talk. I said, "That's awesome." He drives off, and I never saw this coming. I turned left, and I couldn't drive. And tears have filled my eyes. It's embarrassing to tell you all. Tears, I just pulled over, and I think I cried for 5 minutes. And the reason I cried and the reason I was so emotional was this. Right now, everybody in America is angry at everybody. And when that guy said, "Here's my little family, and we are just going to go and unleash generosity and care for kids and this stuff," I was filled. It literally transformed my day. And the reason it transformed my day was this. I literally went, "That's Bayside. That's our church. That's our churches. That's our global Bayside. That's you." Okay, every church, 1% of the people, they're the frozen chosen and they attack everything. But 99% of you are good, loving God and loving people. You're amazing. And it was a reminder that, man, let's unleash the people of God to bring the love of God to every kid we can and everybody in the community. It literally made my day. That guy has no idea what he did for me. Well, he probably does now because he's probably watching this. The guy had no idea what he did for me. And all he said was one phrase. Just a set of words, and then just drove on to unleash some compassionate actions. Matter of fact, you can do that right now. But you know what's interesting is I was in one emotional condition. 5 minutes later, I was transformed, and I've never gotten back. That's the power of words. And James chapter 3 talks about the power of it. And I promise you, if you get this right, it will build your family. It will build your friendships. Every person you know will be attracted to being with you. If you get this right, we could change a family, change your kids, change a city, change the world. You get this thing with words right, and it'll become the greatest lifting thing in our country. And we get it wrong, and it will destroy and drive people away from you and drive your family away from you, and you will be the person nobody wants to see coming. That's James chapter 3. And we're going to dive in. And because James in here talks about the words we use are a really, really big deal. And this isn't a minor thing. This is a major thing. Check these verses out. Chapter 3, verse 1 starts this. "Not many of you should become teachers, my fellow believers." Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. "Because you know that we who teach will be judged more strictly." Not my favorite verse of the Bible. "We all stumble in many ways." Isn't that true? "Anyone who is never at fault in what they say is perfect, able to keep their whole body in check." What he's saying is this: controlling our words will be the toughest thing we ever do. And then he gives 6 examples about the power of words. He goes this: "We put bits in the mouths of horses to make them obey us so we can turn the whole animal." Or take ships as an example. And he gives all these illustrations about this. And then verse 9, he goes on to a new subject. He says, "With our tongue, we praise our Lord and Father, and with it, we curse human beings have been made in the image of God." He's saying you got to And he says, out of the same mouth come praise and cursing. My brothers and sisters, this is a great phrase. He goes, my brothers and sisters, this should not be. Can fresh water and salt water come out of the same spring? No. My brothers and sisters, can a fig tree bear olives? No. Can a grapevine bear figs? No. Or can a salt spring produce fresh water? No. You know what he's saying here? What he's saying is this. That guy unleashing those actions is doing that because there's good stuff inside that guy. And that's what comes out. And he literally gives 5 reasons to watch what we say because it is so powerful. Okay, y'all ready? If you got something, write this down. If not, just listen to this 50 times. Here we go. Number 1, he says, my words are the source of most of my problems. My words are the source of most of my problems. That's why he says this. We all stumble in many ways, but if anyone who's never at fault in what they say is perfect, able to keep their whole body in check. And now, why is this tough? We talk a lot. Okay, for example, I talk a lot. This weekend, 55 million Americans will listen to 400,000 pastors deliver over 1 billion words, okay? And those of us who are in the position of the words we have influencing people, which is me and you, have got to pay careful attention to what we say. I remember one time I was yelling at my kids to not yell at each other, okay? James is saying, it is tough to get this right, but my words are the source of most of my problems. I'll bet it's the same with you. My greatest regrets in life are things where I went, why did I say that? Or why didn't I say that? Number 1, my words are the source of most of my problems. Number 2 is this. My words may be small, like you're going, words, not really a big thing, maybe small, but they determine the direction of my life. And that's where he says, consider a bit in the mouth of a horse. You know what he's saying is, you've got a huge 3,000-pound stallion controlled by a 95-pound jockey using a 10-ounce bit. That's how powerful words are. Or he says, consider a ship's rudder. He says, take ships as an example. They're so large, they're driven by strong winds, they're steered by a very small rudder wherever the pilot wants to go. The Queen Mary has 3 acres of recreational space. The anchor is equal to the weight of 10 cars, yet a relatively small rudder directs the entire thing. And James is saying this, your words will set the direction of your life, of your kids, of your marriage, what you listen to will set direction. That's why it was funny. Last week I tried an experiment. I thought I'm going to listen to a very, very liberal commentator for 30 minutes. Then I'm going to listen to a very conservative commentary for 30 minutes. I listened to both for 30 minutes. At the end of 30 minutes, I was mad. At the end of 30 minutes, I was mad. All I did was listen to some words, and it changed the emotional condition of my insides. Words are small, but they have incredible power to change direction. For example, okay, about 12 weeks ago, when COVID shut everything down, both of our Thrive conferences had to get shut down. I was deeply discouraged. I prayed about it, and here are the words I heard from God. God said to me, if you will let go of discouragement about the Thrive conferences shutting down and all 6,000 people not coming, if you will let go of that, if you will let go of discouragement and what God said to me and replace it with dreaming, the world just might be a better place. Just that phrase changed me and changed everything. We had 6,000 people at our Thrive conferences. We had to cancel it. None of them could come. We dreamt up saying, what if we just started dreaming? We dreamt up, here's our dream, to launch the largest ever completely free online Christian leadership conference where we basically took what Live Aid was, what TED is, and what a Christian conference is, and we smashed it together for 3 days, and we unleashed the entire thing for 3 days. And it was people, business people, pastors. It was over 100 speakers, all who spoke for free, and we raised money for causes. And if you total everything up in terms of what it's going to be like over the next 5 years, people gave over $1 million to make some amazing things happen. All that got triggered. But matter of fact, I was wondering, will anybody show up? It wasn't 6,000 people. It wasn't 10,000 people. The last count I had was, get this, there were people there from 110 countries, including Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, China. There were 110 countries, and now it is over 500,000 people that have joined us for that conference. I have never seen anything like it. What happened is this, just some simple words. Stop being discouraged and replace discouragement with dreaming. Everything can be different, but it started with me, and then everything got different, okay? My words may be small. The words you listen to may be small, but they will literally determine direction. Third one is this. My words spread rapidly. My words spread quickly. He says this, likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boasts. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. The tongue is a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole body and sets the whole course of one's life on fire. And this is interesting. And it itself is set on fire by hell. Okay, he's saying a little spark in Canada burned, I think, 3,000 acres. Okay, a little match in Australia years ago burned 4,000 acres. Okay, and I'm sorry, 600 square miles of land. They lost lives, village, livestock, one city. The thing was just by one simple match. Let me ask you a question: have you ever met a verbal arsonist? Are you a verbal arsonist? In your home, to your wife, to your husband. One of the things I appreciate about Carol is I married somebody, and you could probably take a wild guess. I came into marriage sarcastic. That was my family love language, I think, was sarcasm. And I brought that in. And that lasted about a day. And my wife said, that will not be part of our marriage, and that will not be part of our home. We will have a home where people are built up and never torn down. And Carol has been on that. I can't count. Well, I have grown as a husband. I've grown as a father. I have grown as a Christian leader, all this stuff, primarily as a result of being married to this incredible person who uses words to build me up. I can't count 5 times in over 25 years of marriage that she has chopped me down. And that has been the greatest gift of my life. Our family does these affirmation things, okay? We did it on Father's Day. Everybody gathered, and they shared what they appreciated about me. I taped it, took notes. I'm going to list that thing. Why do we do that? Because your words spread rapidly. Your words, and by the way, your words can make some great things happen, or your words, you're a verbal arsonist. And I know a few of these folks. I heard somebody actually said to me, that guy's the best verbal arsonist I know. You can be a verbal arsonist and light people up, or you can be an encourager and build people up. So you're going to light them up. It's like the couple that came in a while back, and he said, well, she said this, I said this, he said this, I said this, and then all hell broke loose. That is exactly what James says here. It's set inside. Our words are going to build up or tear down. And the fourth thing he says is this, the fourth reason is this, my words are tough to tame. My words are tough to tame. And I love this. By the way, this is awesome in James. He says this, all kinds of animals, birds, reptiles, and sea creatures are being tamed and have been tamed by mankind, but no human being can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil, and interesting, full of deadly poison. Now, the San Diego Zoo is a perfect illustration. He's basically saying, just like animals, man, the way we use our tongue, our words, man, it is tough to tame. San Diego Zoo, they don't publicize it, but they actually have breakouts all the time. They'll come into the zoo in the morning, get there early, just to find some animals gone. They got to find them and put them back in the cage, okay? One of the great apes in that zoo became a local legend, okay? Because you know what he'd do? He would go outside of his cage, and, as a matter of fact, his name was Ed the Ape. Get a picture of Ed the Ape, okay? Ed the Ape. The zookeeper said they had this one ape, and this giant ape would break out. And he kept breaking out of his zoo. And sometimes what would happen is this. All these people would be standing outside Ed the Ape's cage, looking into his cage, and Ed the Ape would be standing in there looking in the cage as well. And that's exactly what James is saying. He is saying, man, our words are tough to tame. And then he talks about the tongue. He uses the word poison. In the Greek word, in the Greek language, it literally means snake venom because it comes out of the mouth. Just a few drops can kill. I mean, have you ever had somebody, you were in some amazing place spiritually and emotionally, just somebody said one thing and it was like a few drops of their words just killed every good thing going on inside of you. That's why James says we got to be careful with this. And the last thing he says is this, what's really going on is this. My words reveal what's really going on inside me. My words reveal what's really inside me. He says, with our tongue, we praise our Lord and Father, and with it, we curse human beings who have been made in God's likeness. Out of the same mouth come praise and cursing. My brothers and sisters, this should not be. And here's his illustration. He says, can both fresh water and salt water flow from the same spring? Say it with me. No. Then he says this, or can a fig tree bear olives? No. Or can a grapevine bear figs? Again, no. Neither can a salt spring produce fresh water. And some of you heard me say that earlier in the message. I repeated it on purpose because what he's saying is this. If I have a problem with my words, if my words are cutting, if they are condemning, if I am not building people up, if I'm tearing people down, I have a bigger problem than just my words, because he says it is what's coming out from the inside out. And that's what's really going on. In other words, if I have a problem with my tongue, it's more serious than I want, because I have a heart problem. And that's what's really going on with this, which means here's what's going on. There's a spiritual EKG you can take on this. And here it is. Words and heart condition, okay? If my heart is angry, harsh words are going to come out, okay? If my words are negative, I've got a doubt-filled heart. If my words are overactive, I've got an unsettled heart. If my words are depressing, it tells you something about me, I've got a discouraged heart. If my words are critical, I've got a judgmental, bitter heart. I got too many people like that running around. If my words are unfriendly, I've got a hard heart. Boasting, I've got an insecure heart. Filthy, I've got an impure heart. You might want to screenshot this, everybody. If my words are encouraging, though, then I've got a happy heart. If my words are gentle, I've got a loving heart. If my words are soothing, I've got a peaceful heart. If I'm in a truck pulling up next to me on the way to church and I'm going, man, we're going to go buy $100 to take care of kids, I have a generous heart. That's what he's saying. And what he's saying here is this: our words matter, and your words and my words have the power. They have the power to heal, to build up or destroy, to set amazing things on fire, or to burn things down. Our words are huge and they matter. For example, I spoke on this a while back at a high school event, and I basically just talked about one thing, this exact talk. Some high school sophomore, so of course he and his dad had been drifting apart. I gave him a piece of paper, and I'm going to encourage all of you the same thing. Grab a piece of paper or send a text, whatever. And I just said, find somebody that you care about, that it's been way too long since you told them that you care about them, and you tell them why. And write them a note telling them why you love them and why you appreciate them. And this kid just took out, this too cool for life teenage sophomore guy, took a pen and a piece of paper, and he wrote his dad a long note, okay? His dad left for work. The next morning, he got up to school. He took this note. He put it on his dad's dresser, and he split. He got home, and his dad's car was in the driveway. His dad was already home. His dad got home early from work that day, and he walked in and said, "Hey, Mom, is Dad here?" And she said, "Yeah." And he said, "I'm going to go see him." He said, "You may want to wait a little bit." And he said, "Why?" And she said, "He found your note, and he's in the room, and he's just crying." And that's how much it meant to him. That's the power of words. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what a family could become if everybody practiced that? Can you imagine what a church would become if everybody practiced that? Can you imagine the kind of dad you'll be, the kind of mom you'll be, if you practice that with your kids? Teenagers, can you imagine what would happen if you actually decided, I'm going to stop being cool and start being compassionate and unleash that, be a different ballgame? Can you imagine what would happen? And let me tell you why some of you are going, a message on words from James. Does this really matter? Why is this such a big deal? Because the Bible is one chapter old. And in the first chapter, all you got to do is ask this question: how did the world come into being? Everything, literally. Okay, we're in a building here. What created the land on this building? God, here it is. God spoke and it was created. God said, let there be light. Light, let there be. God spoke everything. In other words, words have power. Words have power. When God spoke, something was created. Every time God speaks, it's why I'm so glad you're here today, because some of you are going to go, you came in here discouraged. God's speaking to you and you're going to go, hope is created. God speaks to you, forgiveness can get experienced and created. God speaks to you, freedom can get created. God speaks to you, literally a whole future. When God spoke to me, I let go of discouragement, started dreaming, and an entire conference got created that went to 110 countries, okay? When God speaks, you let God speak to you, incredible stuff gets created. And then when you speak, things get created. You go out, you take God's word, take your words, stop tearing people down, stop being a verbal arsonist, and instead you let God convert your mouth. You let God convert your words, and you spend the rest of your life healing your heart and then unleashing encouragement to people. World will be a better place, because when you speak, great things can get created when you're using great words. Thanks so much for listening to us. We love you all. We'll be back at this next week.